All right, Warrior fans, Cherokee fans, and surrounding areas, we're back. It's Wednesday. That means it's podcast Wednesday here for me, right? And on the screen, I have the head man for the Toloso Midway Warriors, athletic director, head football coach, James Villareal, the Coach V Weekly Podcast. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Coach. It's Wednesday, and so we talk podcasts. It's podcast Wednesday for me because I do like 5 or 6 podcasts throughout the afternoon, evening. It's a lot of fun. We talk football, and we jump over to volleyball. So it's great. I'm glad to be able to stay busy. Coach, the first thing I want to do is congratulate you. Obviously, this past Friday, you guys were at home taking on the CC Ray Texans. A big win, 55-29. So congratulations to you and the assistant coaches and the Warriors, the players. I think it's just a great win. Anytime you can score and win by that big of a margin, we're doing something right. And we're off to a 2-0 start. And I'll get your thoughts on that here in a bit. But I wanted to kind of jump into the game, Friday's game, and get your thoughts, kind of recap on what your thoughts were on what you saw from your team. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball first. Um, 471, I believe, total yards. So we basically dominated the game, I think, offensively. What did you see from the offense from start to end? Because it seems like the run was definitely effective, being able to total that many yards.
Yeah. Um, you know, I told the kids after the game, actually, I think it was Saturday. I said, as a head coach, I'm very fired up and excited of, how we won the game, how many points we scored. I said, but as a defensive coordinator, giving up 29, you're never happy, kind of hard to sleep at night when you give up that many points. Um, and it was really big plays. I mean, they kind of hit us with a lot of big plays, explosives, we call them, and we try to limit explosives. That's kind of our goal as a defense. Kind of a bend but don't break defense. We always talk about that of tackling getting the guy down and letting us line up for 4 more downs, and we just didn't do a good job of that. But you know, speaking on our offense, man, I just so impressed with our offensive staff and how we're able to run the ball in some creative ways too, and getting spreading out. Damian did have a big night, at 319 for 5 touchdowns, which is awesome. But Jonas Darby ran the ball well. We had another our third running back, Will McCall, came in towards the end, and he kind of finished the game for us, so we can spell some of those guys. So, it was actually close for a little bit. We had a real bad start to the second half. We come out first play, they hit us with a fade, and you catch it. Our cornerback falls down trying to tackle him, and they score first play out of the half. And then we come out on offense and we fumble the mesh between Brayson and Damian. They get a short field, they score, and it's. I'm looking up at the scoreboard and I'm like, what are we doing here? It's kind of just really really bad 2 series that we put together that we're not gonna be able to. And that's again learning. We're and I don't like using the word we're young, but I mean ultimately on defense we really are. I mean we lost a really senior heavy defense that kind of allowed us to kind of stay in games last year. And now and we talk about that a lot about how now it's our offense's turn. We're the older, unit, and they're kind of picking us up, like when we're letting the team down a little bit on defense. So I kind of have to take my defensive coordinator hat off and be the head coach at times and really congratulate those guys. But we got to get better on defense to kind of reach and our kids know that. That's the great thing about it. And I tell the kids that's what's great about football. You can watch the film and go back to practice and get better at what we're not very good at. That's the whole point of practice and what we're trying to do every day. And I tell them that's what really good programs do. You see a lot of programs who start slow and they lose a couple games early in the season and then they're making big long playoff runs. It happens all the time. So that's kind of we're very lucky that we've been able to not play to our full potential and still winning. And so we're still 2-0. So that we're blessed.
And coach, look, the defense for me, right? Like, because teams do that, like you said, and it seems like the defense, you got some new people playing some new positions, so it's going to take some time to get them to understand what we're trying to do, especially because they're different offenses. I mean, you're changing things up because you got to play to whatever your opponent's going to be
Yeah.
doing offensively, right? So it takes some time to adjust to that. But it's always good, I think, that you've got that offense we've got that offense, that TM offense that can run the ball. We've got those big boys there that can control the line of scrimmage to grind out a win. We've got Damian Figueroa out there that is probably, to me, if not the best, right, a top 3 running back, probably in South Texas. I mean, the kid is athletic and he's tough. To have that when you're the head coach that you can lean on until our defense can understand and really get it going, I think it's a plus for us. On the defensive side, I talked to the boys on Monday when we do the Where's Players podcast, and I told them, we had the defensive guys, we had Maddox and Sean, and I said, you've given up 43 points. Yeah, and they kind of talked about some of the mistakes that they made, but you as the head coach, but also the defensive guy, the defensive coordinator, where you spend a lot of time. What are you seeing early on, Coach, in the first 2 games that you're saying we're just not playing to our potential? What is there something? Is there one thing in particular that we're struggling with to understand, or is it just something that the other team's doing that we're just not reacting to quick enough? Because in this game, there were the big plays that hurt us.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's big plays happen from defenses being, one, misaligned, and then 2, playing bad technique, on big passing downs. That's usually when you allow big plays to happen. Misaligned come from big runs. You're not gapped out. You don't have everybody where they're supposed to be. You're not lined up to a formation. They kind of hit you, and have a big play. So that's kind of what happens to defenses. And we're just so young. We have 3 sophomores starting on our defense: our free safety, a corner, our linebacker. One of our linebackers sophomore, and we really only had, I think I looked out there Friday, and I had to tell my defense, because some coaches, they panic, and I think I've been very blessed that I've been a part of some big games and had a really good mentors that you just can't panic at games. That's not your job. Your job is to coach, and you're not a fan. Fans panic, parents panic. Your job is to kind of try to put your kids in the best position, even if you are getting beat. Okay, how can we fix it right now? Because that's all you can do. You can complain and whine and throw blame, but you try to tell the kids not to do that, right? So as coaches, I had to say, hey, look, we can get better. We have a very high ceiling as a defense. We do. I think I looked out there and there was only 2 kids that actually played varsity football on varsity defense last year. One was Sean, our defensive tackle. The other was our other defensive tackle. So we're all, Brandon, guys that played freshman football are out there last year. Guys that were on JV last year, they're out there. So it's going to take time. Defense is like that. Like you said, when we're so blessed that we have an offense, Coach Talbert and his staff have done a great job of playing complementary football. They're not going to put us out there for a bunch of snaps, and they're going to try to grind the clock down. And we talked about that. I think one of our first podcasts was to playing complementary football. I'm a huge believer in that. I think that's how you win football games. That's what good teams do. So we have to do that, and they're doing a great job of picking us up. So we can get caught up and up to speed defensively, and we're going to get there. I'm a big believer in our kids, and I think we're just kind of trying to find the right 11. Like, who are those guys? And that's what we try to do at practice every day. It's nobody's, we give out black jerseys. Like I said, we've only given out 3, and it's all of our seniors, because they do know what to do. They are in the right spot, but having them understand how our defense works, you know what I mean? How it works at the varsity level, how the whole piece works together. And then just getting better in the secondary, that just comes from reps. Kids, balls are thrown in the air, they panic. It's Friday night under the lights, and it's not practice. It's a real deal. And if you give that up, it's a touchdown. Playing DB is hard. I mean, you can go out and play receiver and not do anything right, and you probably don't affect the game much, right, on offense. But you go out there and play corner or safety, and you do one thing wrong, it's a touchdown. And so I that's what I tell the kids. That's why I love defense so much, is you have to be perfect. You're trying to be perfect. And I tell our kids that, like, it's not easy playing defense. It's not easy playing good defense. And so I'm trying to get them to have that mindset, and I think we'll get there. I think we do. I think we will. And it's really good that, like you said, to have that offense to kind of lean on and say, hey, help us out while we're kind of getting up to speed.
Right. We win as a team, right? So,
Yeah.
sometimes your offense struggles, your defense kind of, like you said, picks you up and vice versa. But it's good, I think, as a head coach to be able to have that offense that can grind it out. Because I think we can do both. I think we can score quickly. And I also think that we can, grind out some drives if we need to with that big offensive line that we have there to be able to keep our defense and get them rest. However, you're going to, play out that game or you want it to be done. So it was a great win, 55-29. And we're going to move over next week and we'll talk with Coach and get his thoughts here on CC London here in a bit. But, Coach, I just wanted to bring this up because when I saw this, you guys scored in that 55, 13 points in the first quarter, 15 in the second, 13 in the third, and 14 in the fourth. So I'll just ask, we talked about the offense, but that's consistency. That's just offensively, man. From the start, to the end, we were productive in every quarter. Some teams, you kind of slide off and then they pick it up and then they start quick and they drop off. But this team went just consistently. We did, it looks to me like whatever we wanted to. Were you surprised, Coach, that we were able to score in every quarter, 2+ touchdowns?
No, like I said, we consistently are able to run the football. Damian and Darby are a big part of that, and again, our O line. I think our O line's done a great job. You know, I think our O line play is so much better than it was last year. And I attribute that to Coach Kyle and Coach Mateo Gonzalez have done a really good job with our O line this year. They're playing high level, and we have some seniors on that group, but we're also, I think we have about 3 underclassmen on our O line right now playing.
Mm.
So that's exciting, having all those guys come back. I always tell you, I'm always kind of look to the future, so that's exciting having them playing at such a good high level. And so I attribute to our coaching staff. I think they do a good job of scheming up how we're going to run the football. And then I think we're slowly working our passing game in, getting Brayson more comfortable making throws. And, we just don't have those 4 wide guys yet that we can go out there. But when you can run the football and get some mismatch, I think we'll be able to open it up a little bit more. But it's going to be a slow deal. But no, I know I haven't been at all. So it's exciting that we can do that and be consistent. I know we scored 1 on defense. We actually got a pick 6 towards the end of the game. And then we caused like 2 turnovers too. I think we had forced fumbles. Defense is we're creating turnovers, which is one of the other things we preach big time. Like I'm big on stripping, trying to get the ball out because I think those are momentum killers for offenses. I think it turns the whole momentum of a game when you get a pick. So we just gotta stop giving up the big play, and I think we'll be all right.
Yes. Yeah. And we will. We will. Eventually, it's not going to happen every game. Eventually, we're going to get better. We usually do. Teams with good coaches usually get better. That's why we have the scrimmages in the non-district. It's all about being ready for district, Coach, right? That's what it's all about. I want to talk a little bit about the running backs. Damian Figueroa. I mean, I ask you all the time, 27 carries, 319 yards, 5 TDs in this game. He has been an outstanding athlete the first 2 weeks. But there's also Jonas Darby, who in 2 games is coming up to about 100 yards. So, of course, Damon gets all the carries. But I think, you guys seem to be using Jonas a little bit more as a junior coming back, Damian coming back. That is, to me, 2 running backs that are going to continue to get better every week. I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about Jonas. We don't know much about him, but with Damian, I'm going to ask you not to tell me what you saw in this game because anybody that follows him knows who he is. But Coach, you see him in practice. I'm going to ask you, what makes this kid special? I mean, he's got good vision. I saw when they were chasing him on the video, that speed that you said that he worked on, you could see it.
Mhm.
They're getting close, and then when he gets that open space, boom, he's gone, puts it into another gear. But I want to ask you, because you see him every day, his work ethic. What does he do? What do you see from the time that he starts to the time that he ends that makes him what we see on the field on Friday so special? And then about Darby and just how he's coming along in this offense.
Yeah. First for Darby, he plays receiver for us. He's kind of like a little Swiss Army knife, offensively. He plays receiver. He comes in and plays our H-back, which is like a fullback out of the spread. He's right behind the tackles, and he's kicking, ins out, and we're running some stuff with him blocking some insert stuff, and then he goes back to the backfield and he's playing running back, and he's just kind of a really good athlete that we can kind of use, and he's physical. He plays defense for us. He plays corner as well. Didn't have a great game at corner, but he had a good game at running back. So it's we're just excited about him being a junior, like you said, coming back for us next year. But we really harped on him on being a little tougher on defense. That's part of his role, and on our team is to play corner for us. So he's got to do a better job of that. But he does a great job on our offensive side. He kind of helps us spell Damian, because Damian is also playing defense, so he's kind of our backup running back. When he gets tired, taps out, he needs a break, or we need to get him some rest to play some defense, he can go back there and be productive, in our run game. He's kind of an elusive runner. He's not the quick burst kind of deal that Damian is, but he's got some shake to him, and he can kind of and he's a powerful kid too, so he can run, and he's done a great job for us. And then for Damian, at practice, I think his whole deal is like his physicality. He's a very physical kid. You watch him play defense, he's striking people, he's breaking on balls, does a good job for us in the secondary. And so that's kind of where you get at practice. You have to tell him, hey man, like he's running over people, at practice. And so I think that's what makes him special. I think he really did work on his speed. And like you said, you're not seeing him get caught. When he breaks, it's a home run. He even had a kickoff return actually for a touchdown too that got called back. It was like a 85, 90-yard kickoff return. So yeah, I mean, he's a special kid, and he's got a great attitude. That's what I like about him at practice. It's hard not to like Damian. He's a jokester, and he's kind of mature for his age kind of deal too. And he kind of knows everything going on around him, which is really nice to have. Him being a leader, and I've tried to push him to be more of that leader role, because he was a new kid. He transferred in his sophomore year. So getting to know the kids and but they're all, they've all gravitated towards him after, his first year here. So, I think that's kind of what separates him is his work ethic. There's not a loaf, when he's running the football or blocking, and, he does a good job of that.
Yeah, what a talent to have there this year, last year, and one more year. I mean, he's going to be fun to watch. If you haven't had an opportunity to come watch a TM game, like I said before, one of the biggest lines, if not the biggest one, in the Coastal Bend, and then they've got a running back that can do it all. It's very exciting to see these guys play. If you haven't, come on out and check them out. Coach, let's go to the defensive side. Number 30, Brayden Genzer. I hope I said his last name right. He had 3 solo tackles, 2 assists, 1 tackle for loss. 23, Noah Zermeno. Did I say that correct? He had 1 interception, I think a pick, a 6. We had 2 forced fumbles from both of those. Just talk about their play and tell us a little bit about themselves, because they had one heck of a game, a defensive game there for us against Ray.
Yeah, we did a good job against the run. Our whole front 7, I think Ray had 40 yards rushing, and a lot of that was quarterback scramble. We really made them one-dimensional, but unfortunately the other dimension kind of hurt us, But he's a sophomore, played freshman football last year. It's only his 2nd varsity game. He's going to be a special one. He's still, I'm really hard on him because I'm hard on my linebackers. They're like my quarterbacks with the whole defense. They kind of run everything out there. And so he actually had to play our Mike backer because our starter, Jordan Gonzalez, had to sit out a half because he got thrown out of the last game. So he started at Mike backer for us, which is like I said, our quarterback, our general, and he kind of struggled a little bit making calls and speaking up just because he's young. He's younger than all the kids, that we have. So, but he does do a great job when he's running downhill. He got on stripped the ball out on one of his tackles. We got on it forced the first turnover, and helped us kind of jump out on Ray pretty quick. We got a touchdown, then we got a turnover. We got another, it was 14-0 like that. So he did a great job stepping in that role. Then he kind of, when our second half, he kind of went back to the will backer position and played kind of where he's more comfortable. And then Noah, Noah was a JV kid last year, his first year playing varsity football this year. And he's kind of our hustle kid. We had a kid like this last year. His name was Rios, and he's a wild dude, man. Like I had to kind of tame him to teach him how to play. He played defensive end and will backer. He was just so athletic. And this kid Noah kind of reminds me of that. You know, he'll screw up some things and not get lined up, but he does everything 100%. So it's hard to take him off the field. And I think even on his pick six, I went up to him after the game. I said, "Did you know?" I didn't tell him good job after he got the pick six, but it's because he was completely on the wrong side of the field. He wasn't even supposed to be over there, but he just made a football play, and I can work with that. That's our job as coaches, right? So I'm not going to congratulate him because he didn't do right. He did made a play, but he wasn't right, and that's kind of the teaching where you're teaching them like, I don't care that you're making plays. I want the whole defense to kind of fit. You know what I mean? So he's got to learn that lesson, and I think he is. He's had a better week of practice this week, so we're excited about him and his and like I said, he's part of that swarm mentality of flying around. He doesn't have a loaf ever because he's just going 100 miles an hour right now. We just got to get him going 100 miles an hour in the right place, and we're gonna be pretty good with him.
And it sounds right like we have the athletes. They can play football. It's just understanding what we're going to do on defense.
Yeah.
And that comes because, like you said, they're young. Some of these guys weren't playing on varsity last year. So it takes time for them to kind of pick up, what we're going to do. But it's going to, to see these guys make these plays and to hear, the turnovers, eventually we're going to stop those big plays. They're not going to happen all season. We're going to get better at it. And once we get that defense, working and you get that defense going the way you want it to go, and it starts rocking and rolling, the offense is already there. That's when Zermeno becomes a very dangerous team. And I can't wait for that to happen, Coach. That's why I'm glad I get to come up and talk to you every week and be part of hearing when that happens, as a coach comes on every week to talk Team Warrior football. Coach, let's talk about the other levels of football, the junior varsity and the freshmen. They had a game. Tell us how things went this last week for us.
Yes, our freshman played Ray, tied 8-8. They're continuing to get better. That freshman group, had a really close game. Had a couple of chances to score there, and we just kind of let it slip through our fingers. I don't finish the game in a tie, but we kind of that's what we do with our sub varsities. And then our JV went over to Ray, and they ended up losing 22-14. But like I was telling you before the show, we lost both of our JV quarterbacks. When you're a gun team that's in 10 and 12 personnel, you kind of need a quarterback, and so it makes us a little one-dimensional JV where we kind of put up one of our better skill players at quarterback and just have him kind of run our offense and run around. And I think when teams notice like, oh, this guy can't really throw the ball like a true quarterback, they can kind of make us hurt our running game. And so hopefully we'll get those guys back. But again, we just want those kids to go play. We want them to have fun. They do a great job for us on scout team, all week long, running somebody else's offense and somebody else's defense. And they really get one walkthrough day where we're teaching them our stuff that we're going to do. So I'm so appreciative of our JV and our sub varsities. Some of our freshmen have even been coming up in our practice, mixing in with our practices this last week. And so, they have a game today against London. We're playing on a Wednesday, so it's a short week for our sub varsity. So I'm excited to get out there with them and go compete again today.
And that's because we play tomorrow. We don't play Friday. We play tomorrow,
so
right?
we play Thursday game. Usually play. I've been at some places. Thursday you play sub varsity on Friday. Coaches don't really like that because we usually go scout or we're watching film or doing something. So we have it on a Wednesday. So we have London here today. We have our JV game today at 5:30.
Coach, when your varsity plays Thursday as a coach, do you like playing on Thursdays?
I was just on the phone with Coach Sosa. We are talking about this. He likes it because offensive guys like it because they think their mentality is it's one less day for somebody to prepare for you. And then for me as a defensive guy, I don't like it because that's one less day for me to prepare. I don't feel prepared enough, So I guess as a head coach, it throws off a lot of our routine. We're so routine oriented. Even with me at home with my wife and kids, like we're so routine oriented during football. We kind of have our days, planned out, and this throws a kink in everything, for all of us, even our coaches and their families. So I do like it in a sense that we're kind of the only show in town. It's kind of nice, that is good. You get your kids get some publicity, and you're everybody can kind of watch your program on TV. We're a TV game for
Yeah.
Channel 6. So that's cool, and I do like it. But yeah, for a coach, we're so, like I said, so routines ingrained in us, and we kind of have our whole week planned. It does throw off a lot. I have a couple longer practice. We were actually still on intercession on Monday too, so we
Really?
still had we had a PD, like a professional development, and the kids were off, so we had to have a practice, and so that kind of throws off every, the timing of everything and routine, but. London's having to deal with it too. So, it's not an excuse, we got to go and play the game. But yeah, it's cool to get it over with and get the game, get it going because you have that anxiousness that you want to play. But you would like more time to prepare still too.
Yeah, that one day I think would make a difference. I never asked the coach that, and I said I'm going to ask coach if he likes it. I'm sure some coaches do. It does make sense to me that a defensive coach would definitely want that extra day, and it makes
Yeah.
sense that an offensive coach says they can't prepare, so let's go, right? We know what we're doing, so it
Yeah.
does make sense from that point. But again, the TN Warriors will be playing. You can catch it on Channel 6. You say, Coach?
Yeah, it'll be on KDT or I forgot what that channel is, and they're also going to stream it. I talked to Miss Larissa Liska about they're going to try and stream it because they're finding out a lot of people don't have that channel.
Okay.
So it'll be streamed. We'll have our streaming. TM Nation Live will be streaming it too, so you'll be
Good.
able to watch it on multiple platforms. I think they're gonna like on their app, on the Channel 6
Channel 6
app.
app.
Yeah, they'll have it on there. They're working on doing that.
So there's only not too many games tomorrow, so definitely tune in. If you've never had an opportunity to watch the Tuloso Midway Warriors, I'm telling you, you hear us here all the time. Check them out, man. They're a great young team, mixed in with some seniors, obviously, but a lot of young players are still playing. The biggest offensive line to me, so you guys can say, man, this guy's always talking about their offensive line. Check them out; they're big, and then you get to watch some great offense there with again Damian Figueroa, one of I think the best running backs in the Coastal Bend area. Coach, about that game now, let's get your thoughts. So you're going to London. London's coming off of a bad loss, obviously, to Refugio. The 2 years in a row they play Refugio. Refugio has really dominated them. So they're coming in. They're playing at home. They've got athletes. They're going to be ready to go. They want to get a win. So I think we're going to get the best from London. But what do you know from them, and what do we have to do to stop them and get that win tomorrow?
Well, they're very athletic, and I think, you look at the Refugio, and I talked to Coach Moreno on the phone, and he said they're still licking their wounds, but Refugio's in a class of their own, man. Like, I mean, I know they're 2A and this, but there's a reason everybody in the state knows who Refugio is, in football. So you can't add that into this game at all to me. They are athletic, they're explosive. They caught a touchdown pass on Refugio, guy got behind people. So if they're getting behind Refugio kids, we're gonna have to do some things to limit the big plays. Like I said, they are explosive. They spread it out. They're getting in 4 wide and throwing the ball, and they have a quarterback that's really good. He's very accurate. And they have the athletes to throw it to. So we're gonna have to do a good job in our secondary. We're gonna have to do a good job covering. That's kind of one of our weaknesses right now. So it's a really good test. Like as a competitor, man, you wanna, you do bad one day, one game or whatever you're competing in, you're excited for the next chance as a competitor to go out and show like I had a bad game or whatever it was, right? So I'm excited for our secondary to kind of redeem themselves and to go out there and have that short memory that DBs have to have, and it's going to be a good game, and so I think offensively we'll be able to move the football on them, and we're just going to have to capitalize on every opportunity that we get, so limit big plays is going to be big for us. If we can do that, we have a chance, but I think it's gonna be a very competitive game. They're a good team, like you said, you look at the rest of the record, they lost like that to Refugio, and they had a really good team last year. So, like I said, I think that you can't take that into account. Our kids don't. We're not looking at it like, oh, they just got blown. No, they beat a good Bishop team the week before that. They blew them out, 40 by over 40 points. So we're excited for the challenge. This is good for us because we have one of our district teams, Zapata, is very similar on offense. You know that, and so that's good for. This is why, like you said, this is why we play the pre-district games to get ready for the games that count. And so we'll find out how our guys are. We got to reevaluate after this game, and then we'll do that. But I think we're in a good spot to come out and compete really well with them, and I think it'll be a good game.
It'll be a good game. So, Warrior fans in all surrounding areas, right? You can catch this on Channel 6. You can also catch it on their app. They're going to be streaming the game. If not, you can catch it on Warrior Nation Live. That's Tuloso Midway's streaming. So either way, you got plenty of outlets to be able to watch it. So no excuses. And it's a Thursday game, not much else going on, right? So definitely check out Tuloso Midway London, two schools in that Corpus Christi area with both good offenses. One loves to run the ball down your throat with the big boys that they have up front. And the other team likes to pass, so you're going to get passing. You're going to see some running. So both defenses are going to be having to be the best game. So it's going to be a good one, like Coach said. I'm looking forward to checking it out, Coach, and talking to you next Wednesday. Hopefully, we'll get that win here at TM, and we'll go 3-0. That's something huge for us, I think, for this team that's young. To be 2-0 right now and go 3-0 builds that confidence. So definitely going to be tested. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. Coach, I'll give you the final thought, man. Anything you want to add before we let you go?
No. Again, I just want to thank you for highlighting, TM athletics and all around. Even our volleyball have done a great job. So we're looking forward to continue the partnership and going forward.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
All right.
Thank you.